Hello, my name is Tom Wassam with Lasting Impressions Direct Support Professional Success Team. And one of my jobs is to read your documentation every day to help identify concerns that can lead to making your job easier and making you more successful and feel more supported. However, to better equip me, I need you to understand the fundamentals of documentation. First, you need to know that your documentation becomes a legal document. It's our proof to the state that we're supporting the individual. In the eyes of the state, if it's not written down, it didn't happen. But they don't want to just hear that your individual had a good day. If that's all you write, who's to say that they couldn't have had a good day without you? They want to know how you supported your individual. If he went on an outing, he probably wouldn't have gotten anywhere without you driving him. You might have helped him navigate the parking lot and the building. You probably helped him make healthy choices. You probably helped him pay. You probably did a lot of things to support your individual that you just took for granted. Another reason documentation is so important is that it keeps us accountable that we're adapting our care to the same priority as the individual's plan. If the plan says that their best life means that they need to improve their hygiene and have a better diet and learn better skills at keeping their house clean and getting out in the community more, then we need to be working on those things. Remember, we're not a babysitting service. The state is paying for residential habilitation. Another way to help you understand what residential habilitation is to contrast it with rehab. Everyone knows what rehab is. If someone has a stroke and they lose certain functions, they might seek rehab to gain back the skills that they lost. Or if someone was in a car wreck and they've lost their ability to walk, they might seek rehab to gain back that ability to walk. The difference between reshab and rehab is that in reshab, we are teaching skills and abilities that our clients have never gained. Not something that they had and lost. Maybe they never knew how to clean themselves, or cook, or socialize, or keep up a house. Residential habilitation means that their life is getting better. They're learning new skills and creating a more meaningful life. Another purpose of documentation is to use it as a communication tool. The next staff coming in need to know what they'll be dealing with. You're passing on health issues and behavioral issues and routine changes. When I'm talking about behavioral issues, I'm not just talking about what your individual is struggling with. I'm also talking about their successes. The staff after you might benefit from seeing how you handled a situation successfully. And they can learn from your techniques or strategies. So that leads us to what to document. Our documentation used to be a narrative where we just tell a story about your day and what happened. However, the service coordinator would note that the data that she needed usually wasn't addressed in the narrative. So we changed the documentation to a question format to make it easier on you and to target the issues that the state needed addressed to justify the funding. Now, all you have to do is answer the questions and then comment on any specifics. For instance, if the question asks if your individual had an outing, it's not enough just to answer that you went out to eat. If you let us know that he chose a Chinese restaurant and it had a buffet, so he ate 4 plates and he refilled his fountain drink 6 times, then that might explain why he had diarrhea all evening. If it asks how many prompts were given for a shower, it would be helpful to know not only how many prompts you gave, but how you prompted him. If you ask him to take his shower and he declined, maybe a different approach might work, like asking him when he would like to do it instead of if he would like to do it. Might get better compliance. And if your prompt encouraged him about the fun outing that was just waiting as soon as his shower was done, it might get more compliance. It would also keep the staff after you from being tempted to threaten the person that you're not going anywhere until your shower's been taken. You know, we want to stay away from those types of coercion. Another important thing to note is that documentation must be objective and observable. It's got to be about what you saw, about what you heard, about what you can measure. It's not about your opinions, it's about facts. If you didn't see them brush their teeth, then you can't just take their word for it. If they did hygiene or household tasks on an earlier shift, it didn't happen on your shift, so you didn't observe it. It might even be helpful to tell the client that you need to observe them brushing their teeth for documentation purposes. Let's also talk about the importance of confidentiality. It would be a HIPAA violation if you mentioned another IDD client in your docs. Let's say one individual came over to visit your client. You could say that a peer came to visit or a friend came to visit, but you cannot mention the other person's name. The reason is that there might be several service coordinators reading our docs. If the individual that came to visit is not on that service coordinator's caseload, then it becomes a HIPAA violation for her to know personal information on that client. The last thing to emphasize is about getting your docs done in a timely manner. Docs need to be completed by the end of your shift. If you wait any longer, it is unlikely that you'll remember things accurately. And it doesn't give the staff after you a heads up of what's going on, which in some cases might put the individual's well-being at risk. We always recommend that you start doing your docs on the last 30 minutes of your shift. When we were audited by the state, they were pleased with everything about our agency except for our documentation. They said that we really needed to improve in that area. Let's work together to show the state the level of supports that we have come to provide for our consumers. Thanks again for all that you do.